Let me encourage our Pastor Mike this morning with a really loud, warm applause.
Thanks, Joel. Appreciate it. Well, good morning. Thank you all for coming today. I know that it was probably a lot harder to get out of bed than usual. I know it was for me. They call it spring forward as if it was kind of an exciting thing. Nothing exciting about it. But whatever. I had a whole plan of what I was going to talk about today. Yeah, okay. And around 9 or 10 o'clock last night, I just decided that I didn't really feel so, it wasn't really that meaningful to me what I was going to talk about, so I just nixed the whole thing. I just tossed it. But that left me with a problem. And so I took a drive. Maybe sometimes some of you do that if you are really searching for something or praying for answers. You take a drive, get away from the computer, get away from the phone, and just find a quiet spot without distraction, talk to God. Really lucky to be so close to Sloan's Lake over here. It's really beautiful if you ever get a chance to go there at nighttime. If you park on the east side, you can look over the lake, and it's really beautiful. You see all the different colors of the lights and stuff reflecting in the water, and it almost looks like one of those beautiful pictures that you see on the internet. But it was nice just to sit and be by myself and talk to God and try to get some new inspiration. I feel like this day has just really not gone the way I expected it to go. I almost feel like throwing out that message too. But I have to talk about something, don't I? So I'll just kind of start off just by sharing some things that have happened in the last few weeks, and please bear with me. I don't really know how this is going to come across, but fortunately there's not too many people here today, so maybe it's not that big of a deal. I'm really glad we haven't started live streaming yet. I had a dream a couple weeks ago, and I know I've been talking about dreams a lot. I don't usually have a lot of dreams that feel meaningful, but for some reason lately I have been. But I had a dream about a house, and for some reason Adonia and I were looking at houses. We were thinking about buying a house, and in the dream there was different options, but there was one house that was special. I don't know what was special, why it seemed special, but when we were inside the house, then the feeling was, in this house, 1 year is like 100 years. So if you buy this house, if you live in this house, then 1 year in this house will be like 100 years outside of the house. And it was kind of like that movie. I don't know if you've seen it. Gosh, what was it called? Is it Inception? No, it's not Inception. That movie where these people go into space and they go to the black hole, this planet by a black hole, and the Interstellar, thank you, yeah. And the time, it's a really interesting movie if you haven't seen it. So they're in this spaceship, and one guy goes down to the planet, but they say, on this planet, the time is so different that even if you spend an extra few minutes here, it'll be like 10 years on the spaceship. And I don't remember exactly what happened, but the guy ended up getting stuck on the planet for like an extra 5 or 10 minutes. And he goes back and he finds out that the guy's been waiting for him for like 40 years or something like that. 10 years? I don't remember exactly. 4? 3? Sorry. I don't remember the details, but For the guy, it felt like 5 minutes, 10 minutes, but then this guy has been waiting for him for 3 whole years. And he's got like a beard, and he's like, where have you been? 3 years. But it kind of reminded me of that. And I was talking with Adonia about the dream, and she was saying, that kind of reminds me of how Father would sometimes say that, he would try to live his life as if, he would try to accomplish in 1 year what it would normally take people, 10 years or 40 years or 100 years to accomplish. And I kind of felt like that maybe was the meaning of the dream, was that if you choose a certain kind of lifestyle, you're going to be out of sync with everybody else, but you can accomplish a lot in a short amount of time. I don't know. I thought maybe that's kind of what it meant. Then we had a member over. She was over for dinner, and she wanted to read my fingerprints, and I thought that was interesting because I'd never heard of that before. I've heard of palm reading, where you read your lines on your hand, but I didn't know that you could read the fingerprints. And she said that when you read fingerprints, they're different than the palm, because on your palm, the lines change as you grow and as you do things in life. But your fingerprints are the same from birth, right? That's why they can track you by your fingerprints. They never change. And she said that the fingerprints represent a certain kind of birth, like a destiny or fate by birth, or certain God-given potential, or something like that. And it was interesting. She said that I have very unique fingerprints, and she said that in my life, I'm just paraphrasing here, but frankly, I am destined to live a public life. I'm destined, that's part of my God-given destiny, is that I don't know how to explain it. I'm almost meant to be out there. Yeah, if I wasn't doing that in my life, I would feel very unfulfilled. And I thought that was very interesting. I mean, I've kind of gotten that feeling, but to know that it's in my fingerprints was kind of, I have to say, at first I thought, oh yeah, that's really neat, that's kind of like what I feel. But then afterwards, I was actually kind of depressed. I was like, actually, really? I have a choice, don't I? How I live my life. And then, what was the other thing? I've been reading these books a lot about near-death experiences and out-of-body experiences. And this book I was reading recently, another book, it talks about this PhD professor and how he spent a long time seeking out people who had these near-death experiences where they died, clinically they died. Maybe they were in an accident or something, like their heart stopped or whatever, and they had this experience where they went into the spirit world and met some of their relatives, or something like that. Many of the experiences are different, but oftentimes sharing the same patterns. And he said that one of the patterns that all these experiences shared, or many of them shared, was this meeting like a being of light. And sometimes people describe it as an angel. Sometimes people describe it as, Jesus. Sometimes just not knowing what to call it, but some kind of being of unconditional love and embrace and compassion. But one thing that they also said was that in addition to having this feeling of love and compassion, the being would oftentimes ask, was it worth it? Was it, fulfilling to you? And of course, not using words, right? But the idea is without judgment, without criticism, just asking, what did your life mean to you? How do you feel about it now? Was it worthwhile, the things that you did and the way that you lived? And that really got me kind of thinking about that, life and whatnot. And all of these things kind of happened within the last few weeks and just kind of got me really thinking about life. And, I'm always saying, life is short, right? And, people always say that. And I had a conversation with a member of our community earlier this week that really kind of got me thinking. Also, we were talking about how a lot of times in the things that we do in at least under our leadership in the church, we do things when they feel like they're important to do. We try to address issues as they come up and support initiatives and kind of respond and react to different things that happen. And in a lot of ways, we kind of follow our heart or follow our gut in terms of what we do. But it doesn't always mean that there's like an overall plan or like a way that things are being done. So sometimes it can really feel like disjointed. Like one week we're doing this, and then one week we're doing that, and then the other week we're doing something completely different. And he was kind of talking about that with me, and it really kind of got me thinking. He's really right. It's like, we don't really have a plan. And I recognize that when Adonia and I came here, of course we talked a lot about it and we made the plan before we came here, but we also didn't really know if this was something that we were really serious about, serious beyond just committing a few years of our life to doing this. We definitely didn't come here thinking, oh, this is our life purpose. This is what we're going to really commit to. At that time, we had really only committed, maybe 3 to 5 years. See what happens. But when you have a see what happens mindset, then there's no real reason to make concrete plan. But time goes on, and even though we go through lots of ups and downs and sometimes feel really discouraged, in general, we felt really encouraged by the things that we've seen and the results that we feel have come about in our community. Someone very close to us was talking to us the other day about coming here, and she was asking, "Are you going to be here in 3 years?" And it kind of got me thinking, yeah, it's kind of a important question, because people want to know, well, if I'm going to commit to coming to this community and investing into the community, what's going to happen in the long run? And I don't want to say that I don't like the idea of feeling that a lot of it depends on what we do, but I'm sure that has an effect. In Ukraine, we had some people from Ukraine, fundraising team, come here a while back, and they were telling us about how, in Ukraine we have a 21-year plan, right? And by 7 years we're going to have this accomplished, and they're like in the second or third part of their 21-year plan already, and they've already accomplished a lot of the things that they're going to accomplish. They have a 21-year plan for their work in politics, and they have a 21-year plan for their outreach work, and then they have a 21-year. They have everything really worked out. I was really impressed, and they were showing me the building that they had just built. They called it the greenhouse, the yellow house, something like that, and I don't remember, castle something. I don't remember. But I was impressed by the fact that they made a plan and they stuck with the plan, and they achieved the results that they were looking for. But I thought to myself, part of me, respected that. I was like, oh yeah, I respect the fact that you have a 21-year plan. That sounds like a really good thing to do. But then a part of me, when thinking about our community, I mean, 21 years, that's a long time. That's a long time to be committed to a plan of any kind. I mean, 21 years from now, I'll be 50. I'll be 53. Yeah, some of you, yeah, like Steve said, some of you will be dead. Not that I relish the thought by any means, but it's a long time. Like, I don't even want to think about that. I don't even want to think about being 50. But yeah, it happens, right? But yeah, my mindset was like, well, in a sense, like, I don't even want to think about creating a 21-year plan because I don't even want to consider the idea of committing to something for that long, 21 years, or even longer. It's kind of nice to just have like a 3 to 5 year commitment without any real concrete goals. There's a lot less to be accountable for, and I can say, hey, this was good or that was good or whatever. But anyway, it's a very sobering thought in any case. Really kind of makes you think, you know, but it did make, it's really kind of got us thinking in a lot of ways. Because, you know, our 3-year anniversary is coming up. It's already been 2.5 years. And, you know, Adonia and I have had to really look at our life and really ask ourselves, you know, what is worth, you know, investing our life into? Like, what do we want to, you know, commit to, you know, whether it's 21 years or whatever. What do we want to have in our soul, in our, I guess, when we go to that spirit world and meet that being of light, and it asks us, well, was it worth it? You know, do you feel fulfilled with your life? Then, you know, we feel like we want to have something that we at least really committed to doing and really tried to do, even if it, I mean, you know, committing to anything is intimidating. It's scary because there's no guarantees it'll work out. You know, what if we were to commit like a 21-year plan and it didn't work? It flopped, something like that. You know, these are kind of like the prime years of our life, right? So anyway, the bigger commitment, the harder it is sometimes. But, you know, we were talking, and I guess this sermon is kind of more of a formal statement than it is a message, I guess, so to speak. But Adonia and I have been talking, and it's really funny. This day really hasn't gone the way I expected it to go. But I have the message. It's right here. Anyway, we've decided that we feel that, you know, as long as God wants us to be here and that we can be an agent of positive change in our community, not just here, but in our greater community, and as long as you all want us to be here, we've decided that we're going to be here. We're going to... There's a lot of things that come along with that. Shifting from a 3 to 5 year commitment to, frankly, a lifelong commitment. We really have to become more serious about actually making concrete plans for the future. There's so many things that we need in our community, in our movement. There's so many needs to be met, and frankly, like we know we're not meeting all of them. But we want to work with all of you to, you know, make a good plan. We know that, you know, in 20 years, a lot of things are going to be different. I mean, it's kind of funny, but it's true. Like, you know, many of you won't be here in 20 years, and I'll be 50, and this community and this world is probably going to look really different. It changes so fast already. On 100 years, it's our children's grandchildren, who are going to be, running things, or their grandchildren, whatever. And, we really have to kind of prepare for the future. And, Adonia and I think about a lot of different things. We were talking recently about starting a school. We would really love to start a school. I would love to build almost like a village, a community. I've talked with you before about having this state-of-the-art $20 million building. Someone told me it would cost $20 or $30 million. I had no idea. These things are nice to talk about. It's nice to think about them and to hope for them. But in reality, if we really want to see them happen, we actually have to put things down in writing. We have to make short-term goals. We have to make markers. Like, how do we know we're getting to where we want to be? I don't know what else to say. That's just, it's really kind of put me and I think Adonia too into a new frame of mind. I don't think that either of us really expected that we would be doing this for a long period of time, maybe even the rest of our lives. But, at the same time, we have to really consider, what does God need? What is going to be really fulfilling for us in our lives? What's going to make the biggest difference that, in this world, or at least in our community, our church community. And so, this is weird. I really ask for your support and one of the real downsides of taking like a position or leadership or whatever is that you run the real risk of becoming arrogant, and you also run the real risk of becoming jaded. And I've realized that as much as I feel more conviction about what we're doing than we ever did before, especially when we first came here, I also recognize that I've actually become more likely to take things personally. I've also become more likely to be have my buttons pushed by certain things, and I've also recognized that I've also developed a tendency to sometimes think that I'm doing more than other people, and I look down on other people because of it. And I really want to ask all of you to lovingly work together with us to keep things in check and to keep. I don't think this will be an issue for Adonia. It's really kind of my issue, but to keep humility and compassion and really a desire to continue fostering a culture of love and compassion and acceptance in our community. And I apologize. I know that there's already been some of you that I've rubbed the wrong way, and I appreciate being called out when I do things that are not in line, when I say if I say something that's not principled or appropriate, and I think that if we can do that, it's a good thing. So that's about all I have to say. Thank you. And I forgot to do this earlier, but I just wanted to share a few things. Sorry, Joe. I just doing things backwards here. So Rev Krishna came earlier this week, and I'm really grateful for him. He invested a lot into our community. In the short time they were here, they're a really nice couple, and he gave a presentation on the holy days in Korea. And he went up to Wyoming and stayed and spent some time with the Loves, and just basically made time for whoever was here. And they had kind of a Japanese get together, and from what I've heard, it sounds like it was really nice. And I just want to really thank David and Christine for investing into our bathroom downstairs and just our renovation work in general. It's really a lot of work. Come in during the week and make a big mess, and got to clean it all up again, and every step of the process, it's just a lot more than you think it is. It's not just putting down some tile and repainting some walls. So I'm really great. Yes, let's give them a round of applause. We have some new water dispensers, one up here and one downstairs. This is so that we don't have to, so that we can have nice, clean, filtered water. And that we don't have to constantly be filling these big jugs and dumping them out, and there's hot, cold, and lukewarm water, and it's I don't know. For me, I just feel like it's about improving our quality of life for our community, and getting rid of this kind of thing. So that's gone. It's gone. Goodbye. I also just want to put a plug in for a youth service we're having in 2 weeks. David Stein and all the Osham kids are preparing a youth service with songs, and Elvis will be ushering, and Kayla Stein will be giving the sermon, and she's 9, right? That's amazing. Yeah, let's all come and support that. If you can make it that Sunday, particularly. Yeah, please, do your best to try to make that youth service and show our support for our young people. And anyway, thank you very much for coming and listening. I know this wasn't your typical message, but I hope that there was something meaningful and valuable for you there. Thank you very much.
All right, and now for our announcements. So today, Dr. Hendrick will present on how restoration works. That will be at 12:30 in the Welcome Center. And this presentation is for those looking for a deeper understanding of the divine principle and who have already studied the basic teachings. This Tuesday, March 14th, there will be bumper bowling for youth. Please see Youngill, Sammy, or Kayla, or Facebook for more details.
Hello, Colorado. My name is Andrew Love, and I'm giving you this message from Maryland, right next to the nation's capital. And I am presently at the time of this recording, the pastor of the Maryland community, which is called New Hope Family. But I'm messaging you regarding an organization that I also work with, which is called Pure Mind Online. And you can go to our website to check us out. We're a nonprofit, grassroots, unificationist, sanctified by headquarters. We got the headquarters blessing. We're totally legit, don't worry. We're all about sexual integrity, helping people to create sexual integrity in their life. And I'm coming to speak in the Colorado community on March 19th, which is a Sunday, after service. And here's why you need to care about that. First of all, mark it in your calendars. Put it in your phones, write it in your little day timers, or chisel it into a rock. Whatever you do, make sure it's there. And I'll be giving a talk. It's about an hour-long talk, and it's 3 sections, just like the divine principle. There's the ideal, which is talking about, well, what is sexual integrity? What is absolute sex? Let's get into that. And then let's get into the fall, which is what is pornography, and how is that actually really affecting our young people, our blessed families. It's wreaking havoc. And then the third part is, well, what are the solutions that God is bringing to this earth? Because there are actually so many, and we're discovering them, and we're working with all these allies. So how is God working? And you don't have to join arms with us and start fighting this, but just get educated, because this is one of the most relevant and important issues that you could be educated in. Because if you can understand how this issue is affecting society, and you can have the tools to help people, then you will become very relevant. And this is really important for your just family, but also for your tribal efforts, because when you meet people, they're definitely going to be struggling in this area. So to be able to competently deal with this is really important. So please come March 19th. I will be there. I would love to speak to everybody. This is, people people ask, well, can I bring my kids? Yes, because your kids are going to get exposed. You want God to tell them about sex, not the other guy, okay? So please show up. I can't wait to meet you all. Talk to Pastor Hendrick about what time, the timing stuff and all that will work out. But I just wanted to give you fair warning so that you can show up with mind, body, and spirit intact, ready to be educated on the subject, ready to take a stance, and I'll give you some action steps later. So God bless you. Thank you so much for your time.
So there is a reunion being planned for Generation Peace Academy Special Task Force participants. So all years are welcome, and more details will be coming soon. It will be April 14th to the 16th in Estes Park. Registration is available online. So this year, WFWP USA celebrates their 25th anniversary. To mark this milestone locally, our WFWP Colorado chapter is inviting educational, faith-based, and service-oriented organizations and businesses to join with us for a Networking for Peace program and fair. Each will share who they are and how they contribute to impacting the community in a positive way. Immediately following the program, an information and product fair will take place. Each organization will have a chance to further talk about their group and can raise money for their organizations. WFWP will offer $10 box lunches as a fundraiser. So come support this event and bring a friend. Contact Shirley or Gail for more information, and see Gail for flyers. So the election for our church council is coming up April 23rd. Please prayerfully consider being a part of the council. So you can look over the role of council members and the criteria to be a council member. While you're perusing over this, I'd like to invite David Stein to give a little talk about his experience being on the council. Let's welcome him up.
All right. Before I give my quick announcement, I have a quicker announcement. All right. I just want to say we're getting really pumped up and excited for March 26th, which is our youth service. And I'm going to give it over to my MC real quick. He's going to make an announcement.
Okay. Hello, everybody. Good morning. Wow, you guys are like echoes. Okay, well, I'm going to be your MC on March 26th, and I'm really looking forward to it. So, yeah.
All right. So, initially, what we did is we created a point value, like for usher, to be on the music ministry, to MC, or to give the sermon, and so everyone kind of valued themselves where they felt comfortable. So every role is going to be very vital, very important, so I hope that you encourage everyone that you see on the 26th, and if we see some success, maybe we can, readjust everyone's evaluation of themselves and their confidence, and if you are above the age of 9, you're more than welcome to join us because we have many, many openings, and I'm looking right at you. Yes, 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 I see you right there. Okay, so that's my announcement. Thank you so much. All right, guys, go have a seat. Anyway, we just want to plug it. We were trying to plug our thing. All right, so talking about the church council very quickly, I've had the benefit of being on an amazing team with some amazing people, and I just want to give my own version of how I see the church council. Pastor Adonia, Pastor Mike had asked me to come up and speak about it. So the way I view it is that the number one or one of the main priorities of the church council is actually to support the pastors. It's a supportive role, which means that the pastors, they have a vision for what they want to do and what they want to accomplish, right? But based on the way that we've structured our community, it's not about they just have an open checkbook and they just get to do whatever they want. And we all just say, hey, we trust them, they can do whatever, right? So we have this council that's there that's to make sure that we dot our I's, cross the T's, that kind of thing, and that we can really represent every one of you here. So you'll know, a lot of times if you come to the council and we do the opening prayer, a lot of times we pray that we will have the right motivation, the right heart to be able to receive the desire and the vision of the community and marry that with what Pastor Mike and Adonia are trying to do. So remember that if you're inspired to be on the council, keep in mind that the role of the council is a very supportive role. And it's not only supportive or I would say like servitude, like a servant's role to Mike and Adonia, but it's also you're a servant to the community. A lot of times when I raise people in business, like where I work in the automotive industry, right? You get some new manager that comes in, I remind them that, hey, you might have been a lot tech at one point. Your job was to wash cars and sweep the floors and, move cars around and do this kind of thing. But over the years, you've moved up, and now you're a sales manager. Now you're some kind of a manager, right? You're a supervisor of some role. I said, before, you always felt like you were at the bottom of underside of people's feet, right? Always doing what they needed you to do, always doing the grunt work. But I said, a manager's position or a leadership's position is the same thing. It's a mirror image of the bottom role because you're still a servant to everybody. Your job as a manager, as a leader, is to serve people and find what people need and how they need to be supported and finding ways to support them, finding ways to help them. And so that's really, if you connect to what I'm saying right now, you should be on the council. Right? You need to be there. If you have the understanding that, people come to the council and they want to be able to give, they want to be able to volunteer, there's something that they want to offer, or they need resources, and they're sharing their vision with you, and in return they need some resources to help promote the growth of what they're doing, that's the council right there. So it'd be great to have new ideas, new visions, new things like that. If you, I will say this, and then I'll end. The last thing I'll say is if your idea is you have an idea of what you want to do and you're very passionate and you know that if you get on the council, you can probably rile up a bunch of people to start going that direction, then you are a perfect candidate to not be on the council, but to approach the council with your idea and receive the resources that you need from the council. Does that make sense? The idea of the council is to promote and support others, right? To promote and support others, specifically Adonia and Mike. And the purpose of the council is not to support your own agenda, your own idea. And if you do have an agenda and you do have an idea, let's go. Come to the council, talk to us. We want to support you. All right? Amen. All right, talk to you.
All right, and so next week we have the Mahardy family cleaning. We need a volunteer for ushering, and we have the Yoder family cooking. Thank you so much, Ted Stein and Pastor Mike. Now we'll welcome the music ministry for our final song.